Good morning, everyone. This is Daniele Capezzone, a view from Italy, the Watch Report from the UTOPIA Studios in Rome. So Italy has a new government led by Mario Draghi, the former governor of Bank Italia, the former president of the ECB. Last week, last Friday, there was the swearing-in ceremony, while this week, yesterday at the Chamber of Deputies, the day before yesterday at the Senate, Mario Draghi and his cabinet passed the vote of confidence. And what is even more important, Mario Draghi delivered his first parliamentary speech, which is important to pin down to try to figure out and to design the political and technical profile of his government. The most convincing, the most persuasive parts of his speech, from our perspective, were when Draghi explained the cross-party, better, the non-partisan Republican and patriotic mission of his government, the part when he made clear a geopolitical Atlanticist option, turning over a new leaf after, how can we call it, the Chinese love affair by Giuseppe Conte, and a very important part when Draghi expressed support for private businesses and self-employed, not an easy thing to be heard in an Italian parliament by an Italian prime minister. So many pundits and commentators were curious to understand how Mr. Draghi would address the hard and perhaps for someone, the toxic EU thing, the European subject. And there were three lines, three carefully worded lines in Draghi's speech. The first one was a pro-national interest line. Without Italy, there is no Europe. The second one was a more Europhile one. It was a sort of homage to the EU orthodoxy, when Draghi said that outside the EU there is less Italy. The third line was perceived as a sort of political attack on Mr. Salvini, when Draghi hinted at the fact that the euro is not reversible. If we might, we would strongly advise Mr. Draghi to keep at a distance from political feuds and not to let his left-wing partners of his coalition to use him to attack the center-right members, or the other way around, of course. And we would also advise our Prime Minister not to use and not to let anyone use the debate about EU as a sort of matter of religion, as a dogma. The time has come to keep together and to unite sensible Eurosceptics and sensible Europhiles to work together to modify some European rules. And the first challenge will be to prevent the European Commission, they will have a debate in May, as we know, to reintroduce the disgraceful Stability Pact and these rigid parameters. And then there is the elephant in the room, the most important part of Draghi's speech, which was dedicated to the recovery plan, the state intervention at a European level and at a national level. Well, we have to say, as classical liberals, as free marketeers, that emergency programs are easier to establish than to dismantle, just like our private liberties are easier to lose than to recover. And not only because once you have expanded the role of the state, it is not easy to reduce it again, but also for a sort of psychological reason. When people are in an environment of fear, they seek protection. They look for a more assertive role of the state. Of course, this is totally understandable, but at the same time, we should prevent a sort of, if I might, a sort of COVID socialism or a sort of post-COVID economic socialism. So, as far as I'm concerned, on the one hand, it is perfectly understandable, and we agree with that, that Mario Draghi pays a lot of attention to this recovery plan, the Next Generation EU program, this kind of public investment to inject resources to revive the economy, to create jobs. We agree with that. But at the same time, if we can give from here a small tip, a little advice, please, Mr. Prime Minister, don't forget the other side of the story. Supply side reform, which are extremely needed in Italy. We need a shock tax cut, we need a shock regulation tax to let private businesses and families make their own choice. The world is changing before our eyes. No one knows, not even the wisest prime minister, not even the most prescient politician can understand which sector are looking up in 3 years and which sectors are plummeting. So the best thing to do, okay, we will have some government plans, but the best thing to do on the other side is to create an entrepreneur-friendly environment with low taxes and low regulation so that the private sector can spring up again. This is our best wish to Draghi, to our government, to our country. Thank you. It's all for today. See you next Friday here, A View from Italy, from the UTOPIA Studios in Rome, The Watcher Post.